what's up? Welcome back to Reviews with Jake, where I just got done watching The Woman in the Window. Maybe I need to change the way that I set these reviews up, because the whole watching thing, getting a little suspect. The Woman in the Window features an anxious woman who has a deathly fear of going outside, so she just sits around her house all day and creeps on her neighbors through the window. But this leads her to some trouble late one night as she witnesses a murder in her neighbor's house across the street. Or did she? Another movie that got put on my list in 2019 and got lost in the 2020 shuffle, but re-emerges from the ashes. I'm telling you, this year is nuts. It's like twice the amount of movies. It's like the Wild West up in here. This one was particularly intriguing for a few reasons. First off, the cast. Gary Oldman, Amy Adams, Julianne Moore, Wyatt Russell, Anthony Mackie. Sidebar, weird to see those two in a movie together after Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it's a stacked-ass cast and a psychological thriller, which is an interesting genre to explore this particular weekend paired with Spiral that I watched yesterday. This is kind of the perfect follow-up to Spiral after what I said about the Saw franchise yesterday. The gig is up. We know what they're up to. But here, this particular movie, it's a clean slate. I had no expectations. It was a fresh start. Was I ready to get mind f***ed? Are there twists? Are there turns? Is she crazy? Is she not? I was excited for all the possibilities because I had no idea what to expect. Our pros start with our stacked cast because everyone brought their A game. Some of these performances were really asking for a lot out of the talent. I'm not going to say which one specifically because that might be considered a spoiler. Except for the obvious, of course, Amy Adams had to bring it. I mean, she's the protagonist and she did bring it. But frankly, everyone else also did the damn thing and it helped really drive home the experience of this film. Another aiding factor was a fantastic soundtrack. I really dug it. It had everything from really subtle soft keys to really full orchestral numbers. I mean, everything in between. It had great progression that really put us on this journey emotionally as we watched the film. I also found the direction really solid, at least for the most part. They had a lot of cool and creative camera movements as well as a nice use of visual perspective to really illustrate our protagonist's mental condition. It had a great command of both grim lighting as well as vibrant colors, as well as some really creative and cool set pieces. It really felt like the direction overall helped us get into the head of our unstable protagonist. A lot of really non-conventional camera moves and approaches that I couldn't help but applaud the innovation. I would also like to tip my imaginary hat to them successfully dropping a few twists on me that I actually fell for. It was very refreshing after being really disappointed by Spiral in that aspect. I actually had a few things jotted down on my notepad that I ended up scratching out halfway through the film because everything came full circle. I changed my tune. That's the key to a good twist, that bait and switch, and I gotta admit I fell for it because some of it was pretty well executed. However, I do think the excessive twists and turns made the narrative kind of get turned around on itself, which does lead me right to the cons. Obviously avoiding specifics, but I was on board for a good run of a lot of the plot points and twists they threw at us, but then they took like one too many twists that ended up getting the narrative tied and tangled into a knot. As a result, I found the ending quite unsatisfying as well as leaving me with a lot of unanswered questions. On sort of a similar note of them excelling at one thing while also dropping the ball at other aspects of that very same thing, I thought that there were a few questionable directorial decisions that were made. On the note of the non-conventional stuff that I mentioned before, I think there were a few instances where I think they took it one step too far following our protagonist's mental journey into oblivion. There were a few camera moves that I found a little too wacky and a little bit distracting. There were a lot of incorporations of visual elements that I found way out of left field. They also really love to do that dual focus trick. I can't really think of what the technical term is off the top of my head. But it's when you have two objects in your frame at the exact same time but at different depths, and they cut it in a way that both of them are in focus simultaneously. I don't know, it's a look that a lot of people have done and I've never really loved it. It's never boded very well with my eyes. And what doesn't bode with my ears are the unnecessary jump scares that they kind of sprinkled in there throughout the movie to kind of liven things up. I did not think that they worked very well. I get it, you have a slow burn movie and you're trying to keep your audience on your toes. I appreciate the sentiment, but it just kind of felt a little desperate. All in all, this movie was kind of a roller coaster for me. At moments they would cast me out, reel me back in, I was back on board, and they just throw me back out again. I don't know, it's on Netflix right now, so if you're trying to be a shut-in like Amy Adams in this movie, you could do a lot better. You could also do a lot worse. I'm going to give The Woman in the Window a C+. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with new reviews coming real soon. Stay safe, thanks for checking in.